Hey guys, it's Melissa here from Reiki with Melissa. Today I want to talk to you guys about letting go of negative patterns in your life and learning how to ask for help and not trying to do everything on your own. So, as you know, we have experienced the blood moon last night, and it's a very powerful time for not only manifesting, but also a time to releasing things in your life that no longer serve you. For many of us, these things can include relationships or patterns in relationships. If you had a rough childhood where, maybe you had parents who were divorced, sometimes we end up taking those patterns that we learned from childhood into our adult relationships. And that can cause problems if you have fear of abandonment or any other issues that have to do with attachments that we form from childhood. So it's important to recognize the behavior patterns that we have and to learn how to let go of them. And there are also other behavior patterns that we have that are associated with limiting beliefs. And a limiting belief is any kind of belief that you have picked up in your life that is actually limiting you from receiving and achieving the success and abundance that you want to see in your life. An example of this could be about money. How many times when you were a kid did your parents tell you things like money doesn't grow on trees? I'm sure that is not the first time you've heard that. Well, that is an example of a limiting belief around money. For most of us, our parents tried to teach us to be responsible with money or to be frugal with money, or we saw them doing that. Sometimes it's not even what they say to us, it's what we see them do that we try to duplicate or we try to be like them, emulate when we are older. And that can be detrimental to us because even though our parents thought that they were teaching us to be responsible, which seems like a good idea, right? Teaching you to be wise with your money, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But in the way that they do it, what they sometimes teach us is that it's not a good thing to want to have money, or that it's not a good thing to spend it on yourself. And that's actually not a good thing because money serves our highest good. You know, if you grew up in a church, you probably were taught that it was evil to want money, and that the root of all evil is money, right? And that simply isn't true. There's nothing evil about money at all. Money is not it's a neutral energy. It's not positive or negative. It just is what it is. We have to have money in order to survive in this life. And so it's perfectly okay to want to live a good life and to enjoy life. And money serves your highest good because it allows you to be able to give back more, right? The more money you have, the more you can give to others and help others. And also, I don't think that it's a bad thing to want to have nice things in life and to be able to enjoy your life. I think that the universe and God wants us to have a nice life and to be able to create that for ourselves. So those are the beliefs that we get stuck in our head and we need to really get rid of. Another belief has to do with love. How many times have you heard true love is hard to find, or everyone else finds love, but I can't find it? Different things like that. Those are limiting beliefs we have around love and money. And I'm just giving you a very brief overview of these limiting beliefs. If you take my course, A Purposeful Pilgrimage, I go into detail, much more depth about what these limiting beliefs are and how to get rid of them. And there's multiple ways to get rid of them because I think it's a very layered process because they're so deeply buried within us. We are so used to these things that it just becomes part of us, and it's really, really hard to break a bad habit, you know? I mean, those of you who've ever tried to quit smoking or to lose weight or any of those things, you know that those can be very difficult things to do because it's a habit that becomes ingrained in you and you have to slowly replace that with something else and get to really the heart of why you're doing the things that you're doing. Same thing with limiting beliefs. You really have to get to the heart of why you have those beliefs, like what's causing that, and then you have to be able to get rid of them. But I think that it's really like a much more complicated process than we realize. It's very deeply layered. So you have to do several things, I think, to really get to the heart of that. Sometimes it can be a past life regression, because it's not just this life that we're bringing these beliefs from, it's several lives. And sometimes it's the tapping, and sometimes it's the journaling exercises that we do. All of these things can help. I'm going to give you an exercise to do today that can help you, but I'm telling you that you're probably going to have to do multiple things in order to get rid of these limiting beliefs, because they're buried so deeply. And that's not a bad thing, and it's not impossible that you can't do it. It absolutely is possible. I'm just telling you that this is just one step in the right direction. So when we are holding on to things that don't serve us, like limiting beliefs, doesn't just have to be limiting beliefs. It can be behavior patterns. When you realize that in relationships, you let everyone else have their way and you let them walk all over you. That's another thing. Not having healthy boundaries. And that's another thing I go into much more depth about in my program, A Purposeful Pilgrimage. But when you don't have healthy boundaries, and in the relationship, and I talk about this more in my book as well, which is I'm finishing up the last of the editing and taking it to publishers. I'm very excited about that. So please keep an eye out for that. And of course, I will tell you whenever it's going to be out for purchase. In my book, I talk about relationships. Many of us didn't see healthy relationships growing up. That's just the way it is. And it's a cycle. Our parents didn't necessarily see healthy relationships. And so in relationships, sometimes we have one person who is the giver, and they want to give all of the time. They're more passive. They let the other person have their way most of the time. And then you have the other person who is more aggressive and has to have their way and more confrontational, doesn't mind confrontation, where the other person's like, I don't want to fight, and normally if you're like me, the reason that I was that way is because I saw my parents fighting growing up, and I never wanted conflict. Like, I wanted to avoid it at all costs, which is not good either, because you do have to have conflict. You just have to know how to have conflict. There's a healthy way and there's an unhealthy way. And for me, I only ever saw the unhealthy way, and whenever I got into conflict with people in relationships, it was the unhealthy way. It was just the screaming that got you nowhere. And that's not healthy. So you have to learn how to have healthy conflict. So you have these two different personality types, and one tends to take over the relationship because the other person just wants everyone to be happy and wants to be the peacekeeper. And so then you have this relationship where instead of having two separate people and two separate entities, it looks more like one person covering the other person up because they've taken over now all of the relationship, because that other person let them, because they didn't want there to be conflict. And so that leads to resentment, anger, frustration on the part of the person who is just letting the other person take over. And the other person also ends up usually bored and walking away because it's like, well, this is not a challenge, right? Like, I was just able to take over this person completely. There's no challenge here, and it's not exciting anymore. So it's not a healthy dynamic. And if you keep doing that in relationships and you're being one or the other, because you could be that other person too who's more aggressive, and the thing is, if you're the more aggressive person and you're a female, you're sending out very masculine energy, and that also turns off your partners, because your partner does not want to be with another man. Your partner wants to be with a female. They want that feminine energy. And it's just a whole dynamic, and it gets very complicated quickly. But the point is that oftentimes we know that we have certain relationship patterns or behavior patterns, and we can see it, but we don't necessarily know how to change it. And so that's another thing that I cover in my book. I cover a little bit too in A Purposeful Pilgrimage, but you've got to recognize your healthy relationship patterns and be able to fix them. But we can also ask for help in letting go of those things too. And so what I thought I would do today in honor of this blood moon that we've had, and I am in no way an astrologer or very knowledgeable about these things, but I thought in honor of this that we would do a little ritual today with you. So if you're listening to this and you're driving, you're going to have to come back and do this later, but you can follow along just because you can listen and get together an idea, a list of things that you'd like to do this ritual for. So basically what we're going to be doing is a little ritual to rid ourselves of things that we do not want to take with us into this new year. So what are the things that we want to let go of? So for me, I still want to get rid of any fear I have around success, because I think that that is one thing that has kept me small and stuck for a while is, number one, being afraid of what people might think of me, because I know that I have a lot of family members who definitely do not agree with my views on spirituality. They are a very strict religion and they don't agree with that. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. You can have your different opinions, and they've never been rude to me or any way and have said that I'm wrong for believing what I believe. So that's fine. But there's still that fear in the back of my head of like, these are people I care about. I don't want them to think differently of me. But that's a belief I need to get rid of, because if I am going to be on my higher purpose and do what I need to do, I can't worry about what other people think of me, right? I'm going to be limited if I constantly worry, well, what's this person going to think? I have to let that go. And then the other thing I need to let go of is any fear of success, because I feel like deep down in the back of my mind, that was something that I also had a limiting belief around was, well, what if I get successful? Like, what's going to happen? And I got to get rid of that too. And you may be thinking, why would you fear success? Well, because there's a lot of things that come with success, a lot of responsibilities. And if you have experienced that at all in another lifetime and it did not go well for you, you were envied or hated for that, which is what I was told, what I experienced in another lifetime. And that's keeping me small, because that fear is still in the back somewhere that, oh, if I rise up and I become successful, there are people around me who are going to get jealous and try to keep me down. And I can't worry about those people. I have to let that stuff go. So those were the two things that I put down actually I did three. The third thing had to do with relationships for me. Fear of abandonment was an issue that I know I have had to deal with. So that was the third thing I wrote down. So make a list of things that you would like to get rid of, that you would like to see go away from your life. And you may need to pause this and come up with your list. In fact, I'm sure you're going to have to pause this and come up with your list, but pause it, come up with your list, and come back. So you're just going to write it down on a piece of paper, and we are going to end up burning this paper, so make sure it's paper that you don't mind burning or getting rid of. So go ahead and pause this while you come up with your list of things that you would like to get rid of. All right, and now that you have paused this and you have your list, I would like you to light a candle. So you may need to pause this and go get a candle. Sorry, I should have told you this when I said go make up your list. Get a candle. All right, so you should have your list, your candle, and something to light your candle with. And now what I want you to do is to go through each of your things that you've written down, and you're going to say them out loud 3 times. So for example, if I had written down, I would like to get rid of my fear of abandonment, I'm going to say that 3 times. I would like to get rid of my fear of abandonment. I'd like to get rid of my fear of abandonment. I'd like to get rid of my fear of abandonment. So I say it 3 times. And you're going to go through each thing you've written down and say it 3 times. Okay? So pause this, go through each of the things that you've written down and say them 3 times. All right, and now you're going to take a very deep cleansing breath. And as you breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold that breath for 1, 2, 3, 4. And now let it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let out everything that you just said. Let it all go. And again, take another deep breath in. Now as you breathe out, let everything go. You're letting all that stuff go. All right, and now you are going to take your list of things you've written down and you're going to burn it. So make sure that you have a safe place to do so. If it's not safe for you to burn it, you can just tear it up. But you're going to burn that list. And once you have burned this list, we're going to thank the universe for helping us to let go of these things that are not serving us. And I don't know about you, but whenever I did this, it felt like such a weight lifted off of me to get rid of those things, to see what was holding me back and say, this is not going to hold me back anymore. I let it go, and I allowed the universe to take that from me. And it was like a burden lifted. And I decided to pull 2 cards for you today, so that you have messages you can take with you. And if you're following me on Facebook on Reiki with Melissa, I am doing Facebook Lives on Mondays and Wednesdays. Mondays at 7 Central, I am doing a card reading, 3-card spread for messages for Monday. And I am also selecting 2 lucky viewers to give a single card reading to. On Wednesdays, I'm going to be doing a guided meditation to help you get through the rest of your week, to keep you grounded and to let go of all of the stress that you've had so far in the week. And again, I will also still select 2 people for those viewers to pull a card for. So the first card I pulled for you today was from The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. It says, the moment I embrace my peace within and surrender the outcome is the moment that the universe can truly get to work. And we talked on yesterday's episode about letting go of control of how things show up for you, but also when you embrace peace. And I believe by doing what we just did in letting go of the things that are not serving us, we are bringing about peace to ourselves, because we are letting go of those things that are keeping us stuck and holding us back. And when we do that, we are telling the universe we're ready for the good things to come into our lives. The universe can work with us because we are letting go of the need to control everything. We're recognizing our power and not allowing fear to take over. And the thing about this card that is just so funny to me is that it has a red moon on it, which we just had the blood moon and we were just talking about that. I think that is so crazy, like a synchronicity, right, that showed up. And the second card I pulled for you is from Crazy Sexy Love Notes by Chris Carr. It says, ask for help. And it shows on it a woman embracing her angel, which I think is beautiful. And it says, are you constantly giving to others yet rarely receiving what you need? Then it's time to ask for help. You're not Superwoman, so there's no need to do it all of yourself. You have an army of angels on speed dial. Give them a call. Communicate your needs and learn to receive, dear one. When we're open to the help that's all around us, the universe provides assistance. Make sure you look for the signs. Once you ask for help, they'll start appearing. And I want to point out, this could be you're not Superman either. I know that there are a few men who listen. I don't want to constantly be talking about women and female things and leave you feeling left out, and I'm sorry if I do. Men are just as important, and it is important that you also ask for help, because I tell you, if you are the type of person that is very giving and passive, oftentimes you will be the one who feels resentful and overworked and never getting help. So it's important for you to set healthy boundaries, to say no sometimes, to ask others to help you, because burning yourself out you're not going to be any help to anyone else, especially not yourself. And it's so super important to take care of you, because you are important, you matter. You should not be leaving yourself out. Help yourself first, and then you can help others. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. I super, super appreciate you all. And I'm just blown away by all of the support you guys show. And I thank you so much for that. I hope that you will have an awesome day and an awesome week. Please join me on my Facebook Lives. I would love to hear from you. Love to see you and talk to you guys and give you a free reading. If you're interested in Reiki, check out my site. I have packages. I have 60 minutes, 90 minutes. You can do a single session or a package where you save a little money by buying them in a package. I also have my card readings, half an hour or 60 minutes. I'm an intuitive reader, so I'll read to you the cards that I get, but then I'll also give you additional information as I get it and that it seems to apply to you and your situation. They can be specific readings about specific topics like career or love life, or they can simply be a general spread. And I also am offering one-on-one coaching. If you're feeling stuck in life, in your career, your business, you know you're in a dead-end job and you know you're not happy there, but you're not sure where to go next, you can book a session with me. We can take a look at what your life purpose is and help you tap into that, get into your soul book, and figure out what your next steps should be. There's so many great things we can do, meditations and tappings that help get you on the right path. No one should ever feel stuck in their life. You should be living your best life possible, and my mission is to be here to help you do that. So if you feel so inclined, please give me a call. You can get on my website. My phone number is there. My email address is there. You can just directly book a session with me. If you have questions, call me, email me. I'm always open to answering any questions you have. And again, my Purposeful Pilgrimage program is there. I am thinking about setting it up so that if you want to get in on that program, you can do a split payment. Because I've heard people on various sites just saying this time of year is so tough financially after Christmas. And I get that. I'm a single mom. I totally get that. So if that's ever an issue for you, please contact me because we can set up a payment plan for coaching sessions or for Reiki or for the readings, anything really. But I'm going to set up, I think, a payment plan for the Purposeful Pilgrimage, and I'm going to be adding some new things to it too. So if you're already a member of that, look for some new things added to that program. And thank you guys again for listening. If you know people who might need some guidance in their life, please share this podcast with them. I'm here to help people, and I'm trying to find all of my tribe. So grateful for them. And please leave reviews. Have a wonderful day. I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye-bye.